250 shillings. That's all it took to ignite a national firestorm. Welcome to Kenya News Update today. I'm your host, and we're diving deep into the story that has every Kenyan talking, arguing, and demanding answers. This isn't just about a coin. It's about dignity, economic survival, and a political statement that has shaken the nation to its core. Stay with us. For weeks, the phrase 250 shillings has dominated social media, street conversations, and even parliamentary debates. But to understand why this specific amount has become a potent symbol, we need to rewind. The context is a perfect storm of economic pressure and political maneuvering. Kenya is grappling with a high cost of living, with inflation biting into household budgets. The Finance Act 2023 introduced new taxes, including the controversial housing levy, which deducts 1.5% from employees' gross pay, matched by employers. For many, this felt like another direct hit on their already strained finances. Enter the Finance Bill 2024, currently under parliamentary discussion, which proposes even more revenue-raising measures. The public mood is one of profound frustration and exhaustion. Against this tense backdrop, a specific incident involving a government official and a payment of 250 shillings became the spark. The amount itself is symbolic. It's a common charge for small services, a typical boda fare for a short trip, the price of a simple meal. It represents the daily financial reality for millions. When it was reported that an official from the National Transport and Safety Authority, or NTSI, paid this exact amount for a mandatory government service, using a platform meant to be free, the public saw it as a metaphor for everything wrong with the system. A small fee representing a giant betrayal. This isn't the first time a small amount has caused outrage. Recall the tumbaku debate or the sugar tax discussions. Kenyans have a history of rallying around specific, tangible figures that crystallize broader economic grievances. The key players here are the citizens, represented by vocal activists and social media influencers, the NTSI as the implicated government agency, and the political class now forced to respond. The timeline is compact but explosive. The story broke on social media platforms like X, formerly Twitter. Within hours, 250 shillings was trending nationally. Mainstream media picked it up. By the next day, opposition politicians had seized on it, and government spokespersons were scrambling to give statements. This is a story that moved at the speed of a viral tweet, proving that in today's Kenya, public accountability is just one post away. Now, let's get into the core facts of the main story. According to multiple sources, including detailed reports from Citizen TV, The Star, and the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, the incident centers on the NTSI's TIMS platform, the Transport Integrated Management System. This is the system used for crucial services like motor vehicle registration, transfer of ownership, and renewal of licenses. The government had previously announced that these services, particularly the crucial logbook search, were to be provided free of charge to the public. This was a pledge to reduce the cost of bureaucracy. However, a citizen attempting to use the system discovered a charge of 250 shillings levied for a basic search. Screenshots and transaction records flooded online, showing the 250 shilling deduction. The official response was immediate but conflicting. Initially, there was silence. Then, the NTSI issued a statement. They acknowledged the charge but framed it as a convenience fee for using the online payment gateway, not a fee for the service itself. They stated that the actual service of accessing the record was free, but the digital payment infrastructure, provided by a third party, incurred this cost. They emphasized that alternative free methods existed, such as visiting physical NTSI offices. But for the public, this distinction was meaningless. The key statistic here is 250. But the deeper data point is the millions of Kenyans who rely on these online services for convenience, especially those in remote areas. For them, a trip to an NTSI office in a major town costs far more in time and transport than 250 shillings. So the free alternative is, in practice, not free at all. Expert analysis from tech and governance commentators, like those quoted in Business Daily Africa, poked holes in the NTSI's explanation. They argued that if the government mandates a digital platform for essential services, it has a responsibility to absorb the operational costs of that platform as part of its service delivery. Passing a gateway fee to the citizen, they contend, is a form of stealth taxation. It makes a mockery of the promise of free services. Furthermore, analysts pointed out the lack of transparency. Was the public clearly informed about this fee before transaction? Many users reported it only appearing at the final payment stage, a classic example of a hidden charge. This eroded trust not just in the NTSI, but in the entire digital transformation agenda, known as the e-citizen platform, which is supposed to make government more efficient and less corrupt. The story, however, has multiple perspectives, and the opposition viewpoint has fueled its transformation from a complaint into a movement. Opposition leaders, notably from the Azimio La Umoja coalition, immediately framed the 250 shillings charge as the ultimate symbol of the government's insensitivity. They connected it directly to the Finance Bill 2024, arguing that this is the true face of the proposed new taxes, not grand figures debated in Parliament, but countless small, painful deductions that bleed ordinary Kenyans dry. One MP called it the cost of a promise broken. Social media activists launched a powerful counter-narrative. They began documenting all the things 250 shillings could represent: a day's school lunch for 2 children, a crucial medication refill, the savings for a Mama Mboga's restocking. This humanized the data. The international reaction, while not front-page news globally, was noted by diaspora communities and African-focused economic blogs. They cited it as a case study in how digital government initiatives can fail if they ignore user experience and economic reality. The deeper implication here is profound. This is about the social contract. The government asks for trust and compliance, especially in paying taxes. In return, citizens expect efficient, affordable services. The 250 shillings charge for many shattered that contract. It was seen as the state monetizing access to a citizen's own information, your car's logbook data. The implication is a slippery slope. What next? A fee to access your birth certificate online. A charge to view your land title? The principle at stake is bigger than the amount. Furthermore, it exposes the contradictions in public-private partnerships. The third-party payment gateway, often a private company, must make a profit. When that profit motive interfaces with a mandatory public service, the citizen is caught in the middle, forced to pay a premium for their own compliance. This has led to calls for a complete audit of all fees on the e-citizen platform, with demands for a clear, legislated distinction between a government service fee and a private transaction cost. So, what does this mean for the ordinary Kenyan? The impact is both immediate and psychological. Immediately, anyone needing a logbook search or similar service now faces a dilemma. Pay the 250 shillings online, which for a boda writer or a small-scale farmer is a significant sum, or embark on a potentially costly and time-consuming journey to a government office, where they might still face unofficial facilitation fees. It adds friction and cost to everyday economic activities. Buying a used car, verifying a vehicle before hire purchase. All these essential transactions just got more expensive. Economically, it's a micro-tax. But multiply that 250 shillings by thousands of transactions per day, and it becomes a substantial revenue stream. The question is, who is collecting this revenue and where is it going? This lack of clarity fuels suspicion and anger. Socially, it has become a unifying grievance. The phrase 250 shillings is now shorthand for a feeling of being nickel and dimed by the state. It has created a shared language of resistance across different social classes. Politically, the ramifications are severe for the administration. It has handed the opposition a perfectly simple, relatable rallying cry ahead of any future protests or political campaigns. It has put government communicators on the defensive, forcing them to explain technicalities while the public feels a simple, emotional injustice. What happens next? The ball is in the government's court. They could issue a directive to fully subsidize the payment gateway costs, absorbing the 250 shilling fee entirely. They could mandate clearer, upfront disclosure of all charges. Or they could dig in, insisting the fee is justified, which would likely lead to continued public anger and potentially a legal challenge from civil society groups arguing the fee is illegal. Parliament's Finance Committee may also be forced to address it as they debate the broader finance bill, seeing it as a live example of the cumulative tax burden. For deeper understanding, we turn to expert insights. Dr. Scholastica Odhiambo, an economist at the University of Nairobi, told the Star that this phenomenon is a classic case of fiscal illusion breaking down. When taxes are large and complex, people may not feel them directly. But a small, direct, and seemingly unjust charge like this one makes the cost of government painfully visible. It shatters the illusion. Governance expert Barack Mwatu, in an analysis for NTV, compared it to similar tipping point fees in other countries, like the window tax protests in history. He stated, governments often underestimate the symbolic power of small levies. They are not just revenue tools, they are communication tools. This one communicated indifference. Tech analyst Linda Kameen warned that this incident risks derailing digital adoption. Trust is the currency of digital transformation. If users feel tricked by hidden fees, they will abandon the platform, leading to lower efficiency and more corruption in the offline alternatives. It's a self-defeating policy. Predictions from these experts are clear. The government must act swiftly to clarify and likely eliminate such charges. If not, they should expect the 250 shillings meme to evolve into a lasting symbol of resistance, invoked during every future economic debate. The forecast is for continued public scrutiny on every microcharge across all government platforms, from business permits to land rates. In conclusion, the story of 250 shillings is far from over. It has exposed a raw nerve in the relationship between the Kenyan state and its citizens. The key takeaway is this: in an era of digital governance, transparency isn't optional. Every shilling counts, and citizens are watching closer than ever before. What to watch for now is any official amendment to the fee structure on the e-Citizen platform, and whether this incident influences the parliamentary debate on the broader Finance Bill 2024. The conversation has moved from a transaction to a testament of trust. For continuous, in-depth coverage of this and every story that defines our nation, subscribe to Kenya News Update today for more breaking news.